Hi, and welcome back to the channel. I am going to be watching House of the Dragon all by myself. Kat is not going to be joining me for these reactions. If you want to know why, then take a look at our community page where there's a bunch of updates about everything that's been going on in our lives. So with the moving to a new house and becoming parents, got married, like a lot of big stuff happened in our lives, and Kat is sort of taking a break from the channel at the moment, but I'm still gonna do some reactions. And just want to say up front, well, yeah, these reactions for House of the Dragon are coming out a little bit late compared to when the episodes came out. They are up on Patreon, or I did put them out on Patreon pretty much right after, at least when the first episode came out, and then I was, trying to catch up afterwards. And that's because I didn't have time to actually sit down and edit. That whole process is extremely time consuming. So I did the full length reactions on Patreon first. You can go check out a bunch of them over there already. And then, yeah, I just had to see if I could try and edit them down later on, which is, yeah, what I'm doing now for YouTube for you guys, so that you can watch my reaction to this series as well. And speaking of Patreon, there's a bunch of other shows over there that I'm also reacting to. Most of them, or some of them, probably won't be on YouTube at any point in the future. So if you want to see my reactions to some of those shows, then you can do so over on Patreon. There's a link down in the description below, and the support means the world to us. It's the reason why this channel is able to thrive, or it's the reason why I'm able to do this at all. It's because of our patrons. So please consider supporting the channel. Please consider just checking it out, at least see if there's anything over there for you. But back to House of the Dragon. I gotta admit, I'm a little bit wary about this series. Game of Thrones used to be my absolute favorite series, one of my absolute favorite stories. I still love it dearly, and if you can see in the background, like I have the books there. Of course, I've read all 5 of them, still waiting for the next one, George, any day now. And I also have Fire and Blood over there, which is the one that this series is sort of based on. I haven't read all of it, just a little bit, and I gotta be completely honest, I got a little bit bored with it, and it's not because it wasn't interesting, the whole story and history of the Targaryens, but it's more of a history book, where it's just then this happened, and then this happened, and it's not really engaging in the same way, and I didn't feel entertained reading it. So I hope I'm gonna get a different feeling from watching this show. At least I think that they're at least not just gonna make it like a documentary history lesson sort of a thing where they just tell us what's going on. We're actually gonna see these characters interact, and gonna learn a lot about them, and get to know their personalities, and all the intrigue and all the mystery, all the politics with the Targaryens and King's Landing and some of the other houses in Westeros. So yeah, I am definitely looking forward to it. But as I mentioned, also a bit wary because Game of Thrones, it was just so good, so damn good, the series that is. And then when they sort of surpassed the books, it took a dip for me. There was still some great things going on in season 6, I think, and maybe some of the stuff in season 7, but then that one and season 8, it really, really, really didn't do it for me, and the ending, like it sort of just fizzled out for me. And I haven't been able to rewatch the series since. I don't want to, because I unfortunately know that the ending is yeah, it is what it is, and I was not a fan. I really wasn't, and the treatment of some of the characters, or at least I thought that some of the characters, they became lesser, and yeah, I could go on and on and on and about that stuff, but it's not about Game of Thrones per se anymore. It's a Game of Thrones prequel, spin-off, House of the Dragon, gonna be focusing on the Targaryens. And I'm of course expecting for the production value to be extremely high, and for there to be some of the stuff that we know and love from Game of Thrones, and maybe they can recapture that magic. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna jump into it, and I'm sure I'm gonna have a thing or two to say about it afterwards. This is the first episode. It's titled "The Heirs of the Dragon." Here we go.
In the year 101, the old king called a great council to choose an heir. Over 1,000 lords made the journey.
I was just about to say, this looks like Harrenhal.
14 succession claims were heard.
Viserys Targaryen be made Prince of Dragons.
Of course.
Rhaenys, a woman, would not inherit the Iron Throne.
Surprise!
The only thing
Music.
that could tear down the House of the Dragon was itself.
Yep. Okay, I am getting chills getting back into this world. What's the intro sequence going to be like? It is now the 9th year of King Viserys I Targaryen's reign, 172 years before the death of the Mad King Aerys and the birth of his daughter Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen. There we go. Straight into it. There's a dragon.
Silence.
Ah, Cyrex.
Every time that golden beast brings you back unspoiled, saves my head from a spike.
So many familiar sets and places.
You know I don't like you to go flying while I'm in this condition.
You don't like me to go flying while you're in any condition. Your Grace.
Good morrow, Alicent.
Alicent. Hightower? I'm guessing.
This discomfort is how we serve the realm.
I'd rather serve as a knight and ride to battle in glory.
Your only purpose as a woman is to have children. The child bit is our battlefield, yeah. We know how this world works.
If those shipping lanes should fall, it will beggar our ports.
The Crown has heard your report, Lord Corlys, and takes it under advisement.
As in, shut up.
Shall we discuss the heirs tournament, Your Grace?
I would be delighted.
A tournament.
God be good.
It's all right, sir.
Wow, the Iron Throne. Definitely looking more like it's described in the books. So this is Daemon.
Is it healing?
It has grown slightly, Your Grace.
Oh.
Can you say yet what it is?
It's a small cut from sitting the throne. It's nothing.
Oh, that fucking throne.
The tyranny. To celebrate the firstborn son that we presently do not have. You do understand. But nothing will cause the babe to grow a cock if it does not already possess one.
This child is a boy.
You can't just will it into the world. Who are you gonna blame if it isn't a son?
Crime of every breed has been allowed to thrive.
Okay.
No longer. Beginning tonight, King's Landing will learn to fear the color gold.
Ugh. Fear the City Watch. Is that really the approach? Okay, the thieves, they're getting their hands chopped off. The rapists getting their chopped off. And murderers, I'm guessing they're just gonna lose their heads. Yep. How do you determine who's...
Our city should be safe for all its people.
I agree. I just hope you don't have to maim half of my city to achieve this.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
Honor your wife in marriage.
I'd gladly give Lady Rhaenyra to you, Lord Hightower, if you're in want of a woman to warm your bed. Your own lady wife passed recently.
That was unnecessary. Also reminds me a little bit of Stannis.
King's Landing has been in decline since my grandmother passed. In the end, this new city watch might be a good thing.
Depends on how they do things.
Queen Emma has begun her labors. May the luck of the Seven shine upon all combatants.
Oh.
What do you know about this Sir Kristen Cole, Sir Harry?
I'm told Sir Kristen is common-born son of Lord Dondarrion's steward, but other than that, and the fact that he's just unhorsed both of the Baratheon lads, I really couldn't say.
Unhorsed both Baratheons. Oh, and now it is Daemon, I'm guessing. Who are you going to choose? Gonna go for Hightower? Is he going to kill him now? Just to fuck with Otto? Or at least maybe if not kill him, then maim him. Oh shit. Oh, that was cheap fucking move. Aren't you supposed to aim for the rider, not the fucking horse?
Now, I'm fairly certain I can win these games, Lady Alicent. Having your favor would all but assure it.
Yeah.
Good luck, my prince.
Otto is not happy. What sort of information did he just receive? About what? Oh! Yeah, okay, yeah, of course.
The infant is in breach, Your Grace. All attempts to turn the babe have failed.
Oh no. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's not... Fucking sore loser. Oh! Oh. Yeah. Ugh. In front of the fucking children.
During a difficult birth, it sometimes becomes necessary for the father to make an impossible choice. A technique is taught at the Citadel which involves cutting directly into the womb to free the infant. But the resulting blood loss...
7 house pillows.
This is somewhat triggering for me because Kat hasn't given birth yet. And, you know, it's just... Not that I'm nervous about anything, but it's just...
Sir Kristen Cole will now tilt against Sir Daemon Targaryen, Prince of the City!
Okay, so now it's this Cole guy against Daemon. What?
They're going to bring the babe out now.
Are we gonna see this?
I love you.
Serious?
Sorry, they're going to bring the babe out.
How will they be?
It's all right.
Serious, please.
I'm making the first incision.
How the fuck? Ah, I'm sorry guys, that's really triggering for me. Ooh shit, Daemon. Is he wielding Dark Sister? Ooh. This guy's good. Ooh. Oh, you fucking got him. Against her fucking will. You cut her open. Ugh.
Gods, he's Dornish.
I was hoping to ask for the princess's favor.
Oh, Dornish.
Congratulations, Your Grace.
So it's a boy?
You have a son.
Yeah. Funeral. What? The baby didn't survive? The baby fucking didn't survive anyway. Dracarys.
Dracarys!
Your Grace, this is the last thing any of us wish to discuss at this dark hour, but I consider the matter urgent.
What matter?
That of your succession.
Yeah.
These recent tragedies have left you without an obvious...
Gonna have to choose an heir, man.
If the gods should visit some further tragedy on you, either by design or accident...
What are you saying? My brother would murder me. Take my crown.
Oh, and he is watching and listening.
It would not be an aberration for the king to name a successor.
Well, who else would have a claim?
Say it.
The king's firstborn child.
Rhaenyra. A girl. No queen has ever sat the Iron Throne.
Daemon would be a second Maegor, or worse. I'm sorry, Your Grace, but that is the truth as I see it, and I know that others here agree.
I will not be made to choose.
Then how can we
My
expect
wife
a
and son are dead! I will not sit here and suffer crows that come to feast on their corpses!
Feast for crows.
How is his grace?
Very low. Which is why I sent for you. I thought you might go to him, offer him comfort.
Really?
In his chambers.
Okay, so she's just going to read something for him. Right?
When my mother died.
Or am I just being naive here?
Last night, Prince Daemon bought out one of the pleasure houses on the Street of Silk to entertain officers of the City Watch and other friends of his.
What did he do?
He toasted Prince Balon,
The king's son.
styling him the heir for a day. I corroborated this report with 3 separate witnesses. The evening was, by all accounts, a celebration.
It's treason, then.
10 years you've been king, and yet not once have you asked me to be your hand.
Why would I do that?
Because I'm your brother, and the blood of the dragon runs thick.
Then why do you cut me so deep?
I've only ever spoken the truth. I see Otto Hightower for what he is.
An unwavering and loyal hand.
A cunt.
Otto Hightower is a more honorable man than you could ever be.
He doesn't protect you. I would.
From what?
Yourself.
Oh.
You're weak, Viserys.
Dude. Is this a wise move? Well, if anything, Daemon, you made it very easy for your brother to decide who's gonna be the next heir. Keeps cutting himself on the damn throne, which I do want to stand. It's a fucking death trap. Is that Balerion? Skull?
The idea that we control the dragons is an illusion. They're a power man should never have trifled with. One that brought Valyria its doom. If we don't mind our own histories, it will do the same to us. Targaryen must understand this to be king or queen.
There we you go. She's now the heir.
This is no trivial gesture, Rhaenyra. Dragon's Saddle is one thing, but the Iron Throne is the most dangerous seat in the realm.
Indeed.
I, Lord Hobart Hightower.
Both literally and figuratively.
There's something else that I need to tell you. They tell us that Aegon looked across the Blackwater from Dragonstone, saw a rich land ripe for the capture. But ambition alone is not what drove him to conquest. It was a dream. Aegon foresaw the end of the world of men. It is to begin with a terrible winter, gusting out of the distant north.
I, Rickon Stark, Lord of Winterfell.
Stark.
And if the world of men is to survive, a Targaryen must be seated on the Iron Throne, strong enough to unite the realm against the cold and the dark. Aegon called his dream the Song of Ice and Fire.
The Song of Ice and Fire. Yeah, man.
Now you must promise to carry it and protect it. Promise me this, Rhaenyra.
At some point, they definitely stopped passing down that secret. Miguel Sapochnik. Yeah, I know he's the showrunner. One of the showrunners. And of course he directed some great episodes from Game of Thrones. Like A Hard Home, Battle of the Bastards. Yeah. I really enjoyed that first episode. I'm intrigued. I'm sort of hooked, and I'm looking forward to continuing whenever I'm able to do that. But there we go. That was season 1, episode 1 of House of the Dragon. I sort of expected for the series to start with a bit of a history lesson, or whatever you want to call it, more akin to like what's actually in the book Fire and Blood. But no, like they actually, I think they did a really good job of letting us know sort of course, you know, where we are by showing us a lot of familiar places and focusing in on the Targaryens in King's Landing. A lot of familiar terms, seeing the small council, seeing a tournament, getting the same, you know, music in there as well by Ramin Djawadi. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Never quite sure how to pronounce his name, but his music is beautiful and it fits the series and it fits the story really, really well. So that was a good decision to sort of include all of that to make it more familiar to the viewer, especially the people who have seen all of Game of Thrones, of course. And then still inserting a lot of intrigue in there, getting introduced to a bunch of new characters, but I didn't feel confused, at least. You know, of course, I do have some knowledge about this world, and as I said up top, like I have read some of Fire and Blood, and there was also a bunch of history, you know, being told to us in A Song of Ice and Fire in the books as well, and then in the show Game of Thrones. So I did remember some of that, so I wasn't lost in that way, but I still think even for people who might not, you know, remember a lot of this stuff, that I hope, or I think that this episode, like, it didn't confuse people too much, and getting back into this world. We got some violence, we got some sex, a lot of like horrible stuff going on, some injustices, and people vying for power, for the throne, scheming going on already. It gives me that, you know, early Game of Thrones vibe, where that was, you know, especially in the first seasons, that was more or less the focus, and it was not as much, you know, focus on the big fantasy spectacle of it all, that's what we got more of in the latter seasons. But I enjoy the more small scale, you know, a lot of talking and scheming and the politics in there. and getting to know about some of the history as well, getting reacquainted with just how horrible this world is and the way that it treats, you know, women and people who aren't, you know, highborn, just regular people living in the streets. I don't know if there was, you know, murderers and rapists and thieves all over the place. I can imagine, of course, like there's a bunch of crime going on, but Daemon definitely moved in with the City Watch, and he just, instilled a lot of fear in the small folk in King's Landing. And I guess that can be good to some degree, but shouldn't the people rather, you know, respect you and love you instead? And of course, there's like that was something what we saw, you know, going back and forth in Game of Thrones as well, with the characters, you know, some being more beloved by people and some just, you know, straight up fearing their rulers. With the Targaryens in general, it's always interesting with like how they are going to turn out, and you know, their tempers, you know, that they're very famous for, you know, being temperamental. Yeah, that's the word, temperamental. and there's this thing with, or at least this saying, that whenever a Targaryen is born, the gods, they sort of like flip a coin, and you never know what you're gonna end up with. And we also got from, you know, the queen, Aemma. Sorry, me and names just in general, that's always a thing. I'm gonna have to like say it a bunch of times and hear it a bunch of times before I remember all names, even in a fantasy world that I already like. I think I know a fair deal about it, but I'm still, the memory is still iffy when it comes to that. Even in something like Star Wars, I'll forget names and shit all the time, unfortunately. But anywho, yeah, as she talked about that she'd been pregnant a bunch of times before. There's been stillborns and babies dying, and like this is the last time. She does not want to do this anymore, and it still did not go well at all. It was the worst case fucking scenario. And what I'm just getting at here is just this inbreeding between the Targaryens. I know why they're doing it, you know, like I know why, like in like the story context, narratively, why they're doing it, but it's still it's so fucking icky. And of course that's why they'll sometimes, you know, if the children do survive and they do, like they're born and they survive and they sort of thrive, you never know how they're going to turn out. And then it's also why a lot of them won't survive. It's yeah, we're not supposed to fucking have sex and have children with family members. Like it's that's not, no. There will be complications if you do that. And there definitely was, and like it was really, that was triggering for me to watch, and I said it out loud while watching it as well. And it's because Kat is pregnant and we're having a baby very soon, and you know, sometimes the mind will just go to like worst case scenario, and like this is our worst fears that something like what we saw is gonna happen, that we're gonna have to make a choice, or it's gonna be a like we saw here with the baby and the mother dying as well. Like, oh man, that got me a little bit teary-eyed right there. And we're in the first episode, so I guess that's good that they can make you, you know, care about what's going on so much. And I thought the way that they did it, you know, editing wise and structure wise, with what was going on at the tournament, and then going back and forth between that and childbirth, that was an effective way of doing it, definitely. There was a lot in that first episode, even though, you know, it focused a lot on the same people and the same locations, and making it familiar to us as well, but still new, and there's more to it, and definitely also getting those connections between this series and Game of Thrones, and even saying A Song of Ice and Fire, Aegon's dream. And it wasn't just, didn't conquer Westeros just for the hell of it. Like there was a dream there. There was something that he knew he had to do to save the world, save the world of men. Is if we don't do that, then this horrible evil is going to spill out of the north, the far north, and it's just going to wash over and it's going to kill everyone, which is what we got into in Game of Thrones, in A Song of Ice and Fire. So I like that connection. It still makes me think about just how they handled it in season 8 and how it sort of just fizzled out and it wasn't, you know, the big focus of the series in the end. And the Night King kind of just died. And yeah, again, I could keep talking about how some of the stuff didn't work for me, but at least I like the connections here and I like that that's a part of it. And Viserys telling that to Rhaenyra, that this is something that, this is a secret, this is the dream that will get passed down from heir to heir, or from ruler to heir every time. And we have to keep doing that. So that was a big thing, and a big thing in general, that he of course chose her as the heir, mostly because I suspect it was mostly because he didn't want Daemon to be the heir. So it was, if Daemon wasn't, you know, the way that he is, then he probably would have chosen him and it would have been a male heir. But now that he is left with like one choice, pretty much, it is Rhaenyra, so he's gonna choose her, and told her that that's something that he should have realized a long time ago. But again, I don't know if it is something that he actually did realize, or it's because he was kind of forced his hand with the death of his child, of his son. Heir for a day, as Daemon called him. And yeah, he's gonna be a problem, Daemon. We're gonna get into that, and that's gonna be a big part of the series. Is gonna be this war between the Targaryens, and I do know about that, and I have like read some stuff about it and heard stories about that Targaryen civil war and Dance of the Dragons and all that. But I definitely don't remember every little detail about it. So I'm still very much looking forward to seeing that story unfold here in the series. There was a lot of other characters, of course, just besides the Targaryens that we got in this first episode as well. We got acquainted with Otto Hightower, Alicent Hightower, and they're from Old Town. That's it, but it's, yeah, Old Town, and named because of the high tower in Old Town, as we saw, like the citadel. And we got to, like, of course, hear some familiar names in there: Baratheon, Tarly, Stark. We got that as well, and Corlys, Valyrian. Just have to, yeah, I gotta get all the names in there and all the pronunciations. But of course, he was there in at the council as well. We got a Grand Maester, so yeah, a lot of familiar things, some new things, and a very, very, very solid first episode in my mind. So again, looking forward to continuing this ride. But what did you guys think about this first episode of House of the Dragon? Is it everything you wanted? Do you want more out of it? How does it stack up to your anticipations and to Game of Thrones? Yeah, let me know in the comments down below. That's going to do it. Thanks again, guys. See you soon. Bye.